Hello, you guys, and welcome back to the Delightful Planning YouTube channel. My name is Sydney, and I am the owner of Delightful Planning. I am guessing if you're here, you might be engaged. So, congratulations, and let's dive into wedding planning. So, today I want to talk about a summer wedding, which is so funny because I'm wearing this sweater because my house is freezing cold and the thermostat is downstairs. I don't feel like going downstairs. So, I put a sweater on, even though we're about to talk about a summer wedding. It is summer right now. So you might have a summer wedding coming up, or you might be planning a summer wedding for next summer. A lot of people plan for a year. So I thought it would be great if we dive in and talk about summer weddings, whether your summer wedding is this year, next year, or maybe even the year after. So let's dive in. The first thing I want to talk about is choosing the right venue. You need to consider your venue really heavily when you're talking about a summer wedding because chances are it's going to be very hot. You need to make sure that your venue has space for your guests to get some shade, to maybe go inside. And I'm in South Florida. It rains and thunderstorms every afternoon. So if you are doing a summer wedding, especially if you're in Florida like me, it might rain. You need to have a venue that has ample space indoors or undercover in case it starts pouring rain. The second tip when it comes to a summer wedding is that timing is key. Plan your wedding for a part of the day that avoids the hottest part of the day. You don't want to get your hair and makeup done and then go outside for photos at 12 o'clock. It's going to be too hot. The other thing, though, is that the sun is setting. So you need to time things properly so you can make use of the sunlight, but avoid being outside when it's truly the hottest part of the day. That's going to depend on your area and where you are. Look at the weather, do some Googling, and figure out how you can be outside during the coolest part of the day and inside during the hottest times of the day. If you're doing a summer wedding, chances are part of it is going to be outside. If it is, do your best to beat the heat. Provide your guests with things that will make them feel more comfortable during your wedding. For example, you can give them like personalized fans, cold towels, or sunscreen stations. I don't know who's really going to want to use sunscreen at a wedding, but if they're sitting in the sun and they're feeling like they're getting burned, they might use sunscreen. I would recommend not putting your guests in a situation like that to begin with. But I do like the idea of fans. I like the idea of cold towels. Maybe like a misting station, but you don't want to mist all of your guests because probably the women are going to have like their hair and makeup done. And if I did my hair and makeup for a wedding and then got misted, I would be pretty upset. So have that maybe off to the side as an option. I feel like the guys might use that more than the girls. But fans, cold towels are great things to keep them cool, shade, and then water stations. Give them water. I was literally working at a wedding where I think it was the bride's grandpa or uncle. I don't know. Unfortunately, an elder man like collapsed. He had heat exhaustion or something. And unfortunately, he did end up having to go home. The paramedics came. I don't think he went to the hospital, but he did have to leave. And nobody wants that. So provide them with shade, water, cold towels, fans, etc. I don't know about you, but when it's really hot outside, I don't always feel like eating a really heavy meal. It just makes me feel worse. So your guests will probably feel the same, and they might want some food that is more light and refreshing, and just pick a menu that more suits the season. Include things like seasonal fruits and salads. You can do a cold soup or a grilled dish. And again, I mentioned it before, but have water and beverage stations. Make sure that everyone stays hydrated. You can do something fun for summer, like a citrus water, lemon water, add berries in it. You can make it colorful. Have fun, be creative, but make sure that your guests are staying hydrated and that the menu options that you give them are kind of lighter and refreshing. Embrace summer florals. Now, this is not just for the design element of picking like fun, pretty flowers that are going to be bright and colorful for summer, but there are truly some flowers that will be in season or out of season, and some flowers that will do better in the heat than others. You don't want your flowers to wilt and look old and crumbly halfway through your wedding day. You want to talk to your florist and ask them what flowers are going to last and do really well in the sun and in the heat so that you have beautiful flowers your entire wedding day. Next, please dress appropriately, especially the bride and groom. Choose attire that is made from lightweight and breathable fabrics to stay comfortable throughout the entire day. brides, you might want to consider something that's lighter, flowy. If your gown has multiple layers in the skirt, like mine had so many layers, and even though my wedding was in the wintertime, I took out a layer because I didn't want so much poof. I can only imagine if I left it in that it would have been like, another layer of clothing. It's going to keep you warmer, which on my wedding day, I was so cold. I wish that I had more layers. But if you're doing a summer wedding, go light, airy, breathable fabrics, something that you're not going to feel super uncomfortable in, and something that's not going to make you sweat even more. So something that doesn't have anything to do with the heat, but is a great idea for a summer wedding is to add additional lighting, especially once the sun is going down. You can add some really pretty string lights, some lanterns or candles. It'll create a really romantic space, and it will also be very practical as the sun goes down. It'll provide you with some more light. All right, you guys, if you are in Florida like me, then you know that the mosquitoes are ruthless in the summer. And not only just Florida, I grew up going to sleepaway camp in North Carolina, and those mosquitoes were bad up there too. I haven't spent summers out west, but I can imagine that there might be mosquitoes as well. And I don't know, maybe there's other bugs. So, insect control. Summer months often will come with pesky bugs. If you're going to have your guests outside at night in the summer where there's potentially mosquitoes and gnats and stuff, provide them with bug repellent. I know that it might be stinky, but what's stinky is being so itchy that you're miserable. I was at a wedding last year, and it was, my legs were just getting eaten alive by little gnats that I couldn't even really like enjoy myself because I was so bothered by the bugs. And it was burning. It was awful. So provide your guests with bug spray, and make sure it's some good bug spray. And just try to keep your guests out of like areas that's going to be covered in bugs. A lot of time, if you're by the beach, like the mangroves will have a lot of mosquitoes. Woodsy areas have a lot of mosquitoes. Make sure to have fans. Usually that helps with the bugs. Like, it's just, personally, I would never do a summer wedding. I just wouldn't. I'm not about it for the sweat. I'm not about it for the humidity. I'm not about it for the bugs. But maybe I've just been traumatized by growing up in Florida. So anyway, think about pest control. Make sure that make sure your guests aren't going to be miserable. Repellent wipes are also an option if you don't want to do bug spray. They make like wipes where people can like wipe down their legs and whatnot. Anyway, just kind of think about it because you don't want to be miserable. You don't want your guests to be miserable. Something fun that you can do for a summer wedding is that the sun does set later, so you will have a little bit more time, which is fantastic for your cocktail hour because you can take advantage of that golden hour and get more photos because the sun literally sets later. If that's the case, that's the one reason I would do a summer wedding. The one reason I would do a summer wedding is because the sun sets later and you can have a little bit of a longer cocktail hour and take advantage of the sunset. And I'm a little jealous of that because we pretty much ran out of daylight at my cocktail hour for photos. But you can plan some fun summer activities, and you can do lawn games like cornhole or giant Jenga. People will like that during cocktail hour. It'll entertain your guests and just be something fun. And that gives me summer vibes. Like a summer picnic. I think it's really fun. Something else that I just thought about going back to like light and refreshing menu is you could give your guests popsicles at the cocktail hour. That could be a fun thing that I have actually never seen. I'm sure it's been done before, but I personally have not seen it. But popsicles are really refreshing. They're cold, and your guests might really like that at the cocktail hour. You can also play with like frozen cocktail type things like pina colada, strawberry daiquiris, or maybe some sort of like alcoholic popsicle mix. I don't know. I've never done that before, but I just had this idea and I think it would be really cool. And my last tip for this video is communicate with your guests. If you're doing a summer wedding and it might be buggy, it's going to be hot, it might be sweaty, it's on the beach, so they don't want to wear they shouldn't wear heels. Communicate all of this with your guests. I suggest that you have a wedding website and that you keep your wedding website updated so that your guests know exactly what to expect. Tell them the dress code. If it is hot and you're going to allow them to be a little bit more casual, tell them that like cocktail dresses are allowed. Tell them if the event is going to be indoors or outdoors, or if there's anything that they should bring. Now, I don't think that they should have to bring anything. You should provide it. If they need a fan, you should provide it. If they need water, you should provide it. But communicate with your guests, make sure that everyone will be dressed appropriately, so that they're comfortable. So to wrap it up, I just want to say make sure to have a backup plan in case the weather is really bad, or if there's extreme heat and you just can't keep your guests all outside. Stay flexible and be prepared to kind of make adjustments, because in the summer it's very hot and it's rainy and there's bugs. So again, not my favorite time of year for a wedding, but it can be a fun like summer vibe. I suggest if you're doing a summer wedding that you be okay with it being more casual, so that people can wear lighter, flowy, more comfortable things. I would not recommend having a black tie formal event outside in the summer. Your guests are going to be miserable. Don't do that to people. Well, I hope that that helped give you guys some ideas, and some things to look out for as you plan your summer wedding. Even though I said that it's not my first pick, it still can be absolutely beautiful. And I hope that you have a great time at your summer wedding. And again, always reach out if you need any help. My email is sydney@delightfulplanning.com. I would love to work with you on your wedding. Yeah, and that's it. Stay tuned, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you are notified every time I upload a new video. And I'll see you guys in the next video.